So buying a used car, it can be really stressful, and we have an expert here this morning. Grant Feek is the founder of a Seattle-based company called Tread, a first of its kind, peer-to-peer car marketplace, to give us kind of the lay of the land, as it were, when it comes to buying a used car. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
All right, so what are the absolute essentials? Where should I be looking? Where should I be doing my research?
So when someone's considering buying a new car, there really are two different directions one can go. You can purchase from a dealership, or you can purchase on the private market.
And what's better?
Well, there are certain pros and cons of each. So if you're purchasing from a dealership, you are more likely to get a vehicle that hasn't had serious title issues, isn't going to be a lemon. You're much more protected from a fraud standpoint, but you're going to pay a little bit of a premium for that assurance.
Right.
And conversely, on the private market, you're in a little bit more. You're a little bit more exposed to various issues with the process and potentially buying a vehicle that you don't know the history of. However, you're likely to get a much better price.
All right. And so how do I determine the price I should be paying?
So I always recommend going to KBB.com, Kelley Blue Book. It's a nice plug. You can go there. You can enter in the information, the year, make, model, mileage of the vehicle you're looking at, your estimate of the condition, and it should give you a nice price range for where you should be paying.
Okay.
Of course, you always want to keep in mind your personal pocketbook and sort of what you can actually afford within that range.
Okay. Sometimes when you look out there, there are some cars that seem to be priced too low. What should we be aware of when we're shopping online or even at a dealership?
So generally, I would say if you are buying at a dealership, you're going to want to ask to see the vehicle history. It could be a Carfax report. It could be an auto check, depending on the dealer. And you want to look for things like how frequently has this car been in an accident? How frequently has the ownership changed? The average accident duration cadence is about 10, 11 years. The average ownership duration is about 5 or 6 years. So if you see more accidents or more owners than you would expect in the life of the vehicle, that will impact the value a little bit. Of course, when you're at the dealer, you'll want to go on a test drive of the vehicle and hit the gas, hit the brakes, see how it feels. If all that checks out, you'll want to pay a price within that KBB range that I mentioned.
Well, we also want to get it checked out, though, right? We want to go to a mechanic that we trust to give it the once over.
I would say if you're buying from a dealership, you're probably okay not getting the inspection. There are lemon laws in the state of Washington that protect you within about a 30-month range. You can also, and I highly recommend this, I always tell people in my family, I tell our customers, used cars are kind of like personal relationships. The first day could be great and everything could seem fine, but only time will tell. And used cars, you don't know the history of it. You don't know what's happened to it. So the best thing you can do when you're buying a used car, and I can't stress this enough, is purchase a vehicle protection plan. And one of the things you can do, one of the advantages of buying from a dealership instead of from the private market, is they're set up to sell you a vehicle protection plan.
Okay, so and now comes the critical part, and maybe the scariest part for a lot of people, haggling over price. What's the most effective way to do that to make sure we're getting the best deal?
So again, I would always do my research first before going to the dealership and have a sense for what it is, what's the price that you want to pay, what's your number. And I think, you should have the confidence, particularly when you're dealing with a dealership and there are various options for you as a consumer to walk out if they're not going to give you the price that you want, and be patient. Right. The worst thing you can do is walk in there and think, oh, geez, I need to get a car this instant today. If you did just total your car and you do need to get to work tomorrow, I personally wouldn't share that with the dealer.
Right, yeah, right. They're probably not good.
Yeah, let them know, I'm not in a hurry. But have a price that you're confident that this is my number, and be ready to walk out if they're not willing to agree to it.
Grant Feek, thank you so much, the founder of Tread. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.